tent poles, you have to make 3 to 4 times the budget to even make it break even.
Streamers actually were buying big amounts, and that was actually fueling a lot of these projects to come up. But that's actually fallen over the last 2 years.
Every single transaction that comes through 100 countries and these mid-budget projects, right, between 5 and 50, 60-ish million, there's a sharp increase.
Almost 40% increase in deal count. The returns have been softening a little bit for these blockbuster, high budget projects. Instead of that one big tentpole projects, maybe let me do 3 mid-sized projects. Or they are directly going into slate financing. Now, when you do slate financing, hey, you know what? The first thing that happens is mid-budget projects typically go up. Scale back that $100 million plus project to the $50-$55 million range. The project became viable. Why? Because it was now able to confirmed return the money that was being invested. It was greenlit in a jiffy. The movie was called Here, H-E-R-E, with Tom Hanks.
JP Morgan said, here you go, $500 million. Hits after hits, they're bringing really, really exciting mid-budget, some, even low-budget movies, and theatrically they've been massively successful, right? Get Out, less than 5 million.
Investments in all the other projects were returned by just this one project. I interviewed the head of innovation at DNEG. Now, Double Negative DNEG, is one of the top Hollywood VFX company, but they are also now a producer. They're a production house as well, attached to DNEG. What was interesting was that they had a particular project that had Tom Hanks, and that project was just it wasn't getting greenlit. And the problem with the project was that everything made sense, right? It was a great story. This could actually be a big hit. They were, in fact, actually thinking that this could also be, even critically acclaimed. Commercial success, critical acclaim, right? What was the problem? The problem was that it was not going to be able to guarantee returns on the investment. Why? Because that project was more than $100 million in cost. Right. What they did was they actually used some amounts of AI, the de-aging technologies that they used, and they were able to scale back that $100 million plus project to the $50-$55 million range. At that point, the project became viable. Why? Because it was now able to confirmed return the money that was being invested. And it was greenlit in a jiffy. The movie was called Here, H-E-R-E, with Tom Hanks. And you can see the de-aging, right? Tom Hanks is a young person, a young man, and then he ages in the movie. Again, these are the kind of stories that we are now hearing, case studies that we are hearing, where the right capital structure, the right location, the right tax incentives, the right co-pro partners, the right mix of AI versus human talent is able to make unviable projects viable.
These projects, right, were not viable at all at a really, really large budget.
I think mid-budget has a lot to.
And again, playing a massive, massive role. The other thing was, now we sort of, zoom into India, zoom into a very, niche market within India, right? Malayalam. And the cost base that just absolutely outran the market, right? So in 2024, 200 plus, movies were released. Production cost really reduced by 30%. And 1 out of 28 in Jan 2025 releases were deemed massively successful. So again, there's a model that they've picked up. They've understood how to really pull the levers on cost, really very tight budgets, and they are able to get massive, massive success for a lot of those pieces. Netflix, again, you could see, right, a lot of their investments in Malayalam and how those things have changed over time. And then you could really see similar stuff with Prime Video. And their investments over time. Although, look, there are so many different ways that we have explained on how the financing really stitches up. This really summarizes, right, that why mid-budget is the smartest bet in the room. Capital is structured for it, right? Slate financing. We talked about stacked co-productions. We talked about soft monies, just discipline in equity. PE is involved in it in a lot of these cases. Studios have vacated it, so the tentpole risk it's really happening, and that really opening up a lot of these doors for mid-budget. AI is here to play. We are seeing tremendous amount of cost reductions that are happening, and there is an element of discipline, right? So budgets that make sense, ROIs that make sense, comps that make sense, right? We have a group that does a lot of this matchmaking for producers, and when we do present projects in front of financiers or commissioners, uh, it all has to make sense. The project, if it's not gonna show the ROI that is believable, it's really not going to get greenlit.